And welcome to another edition of Flashpoints. I'm Bob Orr, as always, joined by national security consultant Juan Zarate.
Hi, Bob.
Juan, nice to see you again. Let's start right off with what's happening with the U.S.-Pakistan relations, because there was kind of a bombshell of sorts when Admiral Mullen, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, made his comments on Capitol Hill.
Yeah, Chairman Mullen called the Haqqani network, this group that was responsible for the attack on the U.S. Embassy and responsible for a number of other vicious attacks in Afghanistan that have cost American lives, claim that they are a veritable arm of the Pakistan intelligence service. Now, we've known all along, and in fact, we've talked about this on Flashpoints, the role of the Haqqani network as a key network, not only for the Pakistani government, but also for al-Qaeda and other militant groups. And there's been great frustration in the United States that Pakistan hasn't done more to disrupt the cross-border attacks coming from the Haqqani network. But what was devastating about this statement was the fact that Chairman Mullen himself said it, somebody who has prided himself on developing a long-term relationship with his counterparts in Pakistan, in particular the Army Chief of Staff Haqqani, but also the way that he expressed it, real deep frustration and a sense that he was saying this as a prompt and frankly as sort of a sharp edge toward the Pakistanis to get them to react. And react they have. The Army generals have met and have talked about this. There's been diplomatic repercussions with the Pakistanis pushing back very hard. And a lot of public furor in Pakistan in response. And so it had the intended effect of really drawing a sharp line, but it has deepened the frustration, the tension, and the mistrust between the U.S. and Pakistan.
These were very blunt comments, by Washington standards, extraordinarily blunt, and coming from a person that in the past has been seen, I think, by many in Pakistan as a friendly arm of the U.S. government. He was pretty close to the military chief there.
That's right, and Chairman Mullen is coming to the end of his tenure, and I think you're seeing a lot of the frustration that he has felt in dealing with the Pakistanis, behind the scenes, quietly, trying to push them, prod them. No doubt the Pakistanis have been good partners with the U.S. on things like going after al-Qaeda members in the settled areas. You know, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed was captured with the help of the Pakistanis in Pakistan. But the reality is, in the wake of the bin Laden killing in the heart of Pakistan, with the potential drawdown or the move toward drawdown to 2014 in Afghanistan, and the sense that the Pakistanis have not changed their strategic calculus, that is to say, they continue to hedge their bets and rely on proxy networks to create instability in Afghanistan as part of their strategic long-term goals. All of that has now met with frustration, and you saw that in what Chairman Mullen has said. That said, the White House and others seem to be backing away a bit. The Washington Post had an article on this just this morning, and we've seen, even with the press spokesman, Carney, walking back a bit what Chairman Mullen has said. And I think people are trying to pull back from the brink in terms of the relationship, trying to soften things. And they may seem to be, at this point, contradicting what Chairman Mullen said.
But what's going on here? I mean, as Admiral Mullen made these very pointed comments, sitting right next to him was Defense Secretary Panetta, who didn't come out and say it also, but he gave tacit kind of confirmation. But now we have the White House, as you say, walking this back. Is this just a diplomatic problem that's kind of blossomed at the White House? What's really happening?
There's really two issues, I think, Bob. The first is the diplomatic issue. I think people really want to walk back from the precipice here. They don't want relations to get worse. Not that it seems like they can't get any worse, but they could. They could. You've seen, for example, the Pakistanis making public their meeting of intelligence chiefs from China and Saudi Arabia. The Paks are sending signals that they really don't like this, and they can really turn up the heat or change course. So the U.S. wants to back this back a little bit diplomatically. The other thing is, it's hard in terms of the nature of the relationship to tell a clear story. We know that there have been historical ties between the Pakistani intelligence and the Haqqani network. We know that there's safe haven in Pakistan and western Pakistan for this group. We know that there's funding and support. But whether or not the Pakistani intelligence service actually directed the Haqqani network to commit this attack on the U.S. Embassy is really still a question that's up in the air. It's what Chairman Mullen suggested in his words.
Clearly.
Said it. And we've seen some press reports that was really what was at play here, and a real concern. But I think others have a different view, perhaps, of the data, and may suggest a more soft element of the relationship between the Pakistani government and the Haqqani network. So I think it's an element of diplomacy, trying to walk back from the brink, but also different perceptions as to how you read the nature of the relationship between the Pakistani government and this Haqqani network.
Well, this is potentially a huge issue. We'll come back to this many times.
Huge issue.
Sure.
It's going to fester, and it's going to fester in Pakistan Pakistan. We'll watch the media reports in Pakistan, but this will not go away, and it will be yet another sense in the Pakistani populace's mind of the unreliability of an American partner, especially as we move toward 2014, and we're not going to be there. The Pakistanis are going to probably make their own way in terms of their own strategy.
All right, well, more on that.